tonight what I want to do is this. I want to do the inside of our book, which is this bit here that lights up. Okay, now do you remember when we've talked? Oh, hi Celia. Celia, I need to message you. I'll do that after class. Don't let me forget. I told you when I make books that I often make changes to them, because I'll make them and then I'll maybe make a change to them. I'm going to make a slight change to this because, and I'll show you why. I used an exact piece of A4, you know, the thick, hi Miranda, you know, the super thick chipboard, and it's fine, but it doesn't close quite as well as I hoped. So what I'm going to do, or what I want us to do first of all, is just take off a little bit of this bit here, the edge, so that it'll sit a lot better. And I don't know if any of you have matted the inside of your books yet, but I was just telling Mark how proud I am of myself. You know, my original here, I used white Tyvek, and in this one I used the black, and I am so happy with the difference that made using the black Tyvek and you know, using the black to edge the chipboard. I think that looks so much better. So I'm glad about that. The only mistake that I made was that when I covered the outside, I meant to put black on the back, but it ended up on the front. So I've now got a black book. But after seeing Janet's and how beautiful it is in the gold, I'm going to have to try and get some gold in it somehow. Anyway, I digress. Tonight I want to do this, and I've been having a look at it because it's been a while since I've done it and I couldn't remember how, and I've realised that actually it's a lot easier than I think, so that's all good news too. Evening Karen. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our frame first of all, this will all become clear, and then we're going to start to build it up. So what I need you to do first of all, are they alright dear?
I can't find Martha.
Oh, she'll turn up. Oh. Is I want us to cut. We're going to have to cut all three, and I apologise profusely. I'm going to use my what's it ruler again. We're going to cut them down by 1/4 of an inch. This isn't going to work, is it, using this? Because I'm not going to be able to see quarter. I'm going to have to measure it. Right, so I want to cut each of them down. I had to tidy up this afternoon. And you know what that means? Can't find a darn thing. Pen, that'll do. I want to cut it down by 1/4 of an inch, so I'm just going to measure 1/4 of an inch, and just because Mark's watching.
I've got my back to you.
Oh no, but you can still see on the screen. Oh,
No, but it's 30 seconds later, isn't it?
oh yeah, I suppose so. Although I did have a horrible accident with the tape runner this morning. It's not been a good day. Also, I broke my glasses. So I'm now wearing my old distance glasses, which I've now discovered are absolutely perfect for seeing the computer. Funny that. Anyway, right, I'm going to cut this down by 1/4 of an inch. Now, this is a thick bit of chipboard, and if you press too hard, you're going to hurt your wrists. So, if you've heard all this before, I apologise profusely, but I'm going to say it again. Profusely. I couldn't say immunisation earlier. I don't know why. I can say it now. Yeah. Anyway, little and often is my tip for this. So don't press down. Don't go and make your wrists hurt. Do little and shut up. Do little cuts and often. You don't have to press down hard. You just have to be persistent. And if there's one thing I am, it's persistent, isn't it, dear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you just have to just keep pulling your knife backwards and forwards. And, of course, it does work better if you've got a sharp knife. So, you know, change your blade. And I haven't put any pressure on my wrists or anything. But I've now cut 1/4 of an inch off that just by going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And I'm going to do that on all three of them. So I'm just going to measure. Where's my other ruler? I'm just going to measure this down by 1/4 of an inch. And I'm just going to do the same again. Okay, that one's done. And then the last one. Actually, I've just realised. No, that's good. I just grabbed 3 pieces of chipboard, and sometimes I use A4 plus, which means it's slightly bigger than A4, but luckily these are the proper ones. Suddenly had a thought I was going to have to cut it down a bit more, but I don't. Because if you've got the kit, the chipboard that you've got in the kit is already the right size, more or less. I just want to take this off so that it'll close easier. Right, while we're cutting, next project, the recipe book, or should I say books, which is coming along apace, and I'm very, very pleased with it. Ruth, I'm cutting 1/4 of an inch off the 8 1/4 inch side of my A4 chipboard, so it's going to be 8 inches by 11 3/4 inches. Evening, Sue. What did you have for dinner? Yeah, so anyway, this recipe book.
Was that on both sides, did you say? 1/4 inch? Or just the width?
The width, it's going to be 8 1/4, it's going to be 8 by 11 3/4. No, I know you weren't listening.
What?
What? Okay, so they're all roughly the same size now. So it's 8 inches by 11 3/4 inches. Right. Now, what I want to do is we have to draw the frame and cut out the middle bit to form the frame that is going to seat our lights. So I can't remember how big this frame is. Hang on while I measure.
Has House of Roses been abandoned?
No, House of Roses hasn't been abandoned. House of Roses has developed into a book and box. It has not been abandoned. It's still coming, but it's just changed slightly. But it's now a book in a box. It's coming. Actually, let's do that one next. Yeah, maybe we could do House of Roses next, because that's going to be quick and easy. Anyway, the recipe book one. Well, what I was going to say, or what I was going to ask you, was we don't want to be doing that and starting that before Christmas, do we? So I was going to suggest that we did it in the new year, because I don't know what arrangements you want over Christmas, really. Mark and I were talking about this the other day, and our feeling is that Christmas is a time to be enjoyed. Some of us are spending it with family. Some of us will be on our own. Lorraine, you didn't dream it. It's kind of happening. It's on the chalkboard. It's on the chalkboard. I have started it. I just keep getting sidetracked. Do you know? Here's a little tip for you. Anybody who wants to start a crafting business, don't think for 2 seconds that you're actually going to get any crafting done. That's all I'm going to say. Packing. Oh, did you see that thread today with all the offers of help? When we're COVID free, we've got a team to pack boxes. Yeah, I know you have. Hence all the accidents I've had today.
Yes. You need a carer.
I do need a carer. So anyway,
I did see
the frame, Jane, is we've cut down our A4 pieces so that it's 8 inches instead of 8 1/4. So I've just cut 1/4 of an inch off that side, and then it's still the same 11 3/4 that way. And the inch is just a frame. The frame is just an inch. Hi Axel, night Axel. Hi Larissa. I'll respond to your message as well after class. Thank you very much. So anyway, yeah, Christmas, right. So I reckon we've probably got another maximum 2 weeks on this, and I think it might even only be 1, but maximum 2 weeks. And then after that, we haven't got a project ready. Well, we have, but I don't think we should start anything before Christmas, because let's be honest, we're all broke. I'm busy. The frame, it's an inch, Julie. They're all an inch.
offset the outside one.
So that is now, that's 8 inches by 11 3/4 inches, and that's 1 inch frame, okay? And we're going to do that all the way around. Yeah, so Christmas. So Mark and I were talking about this, and we thought we would not do any proper classes, as it were, until after Christmas, possibly New Year time, because a lot of us are going to be very busy and broke, and that's just me. And the rest of us might well not be busy, but might still want something to do. So we thought we're still going to carry on and do a class on a Wednesday, but just do something, you know, like we did during lockdown, the big lockdown, where we just made little books just for fun. What do you reckon? Does that sound like something that we should be doing? So once we finish this in the next 2-ish weeks, possibly, let's say 1.5 weeks.
I'll break up in 2 weeks.
You do break up in 2 weeks. But I think it would be awfully sad if we, you know, for anybody who's like maybe needs a bit of peace or who's going to be on their own, that we don't, it would be sad not to do something. So I'm quite happy to carry on and still do something on a Wednesday, but just something, you know, daft for fun. A little book, something like that. Yeah? Okay. Let's do little books. Good. Excellent. Suits me down to the ground. And we'll use our stash, because, you know, we've all got it. That does not look straight to me. It's not far off. Yeah, near enough. Doesn't matter anyway, because it's going to be hidden. Have you seen this Whamgeddon thing that's doing the rounds on Facebook? I'm doing it. I think you should all do it. It's on. I'll put it. I could put it in the group actually, but it's on my my personal timeline, where there's a competition, not for any results, just for fun, where you have to go as long as possible without hearing Last Christmas by Wham. You can listen to the copies, you know, the covers, but if you hear the original by Wham, you're out. And I just think it's the funniest thing ever. So, so far, I'm going to give it a go, and I've missed out not listening, not hearing it, but I think that could change.
Could. I'm just searching for it.
No, don't you dare! Don't you flipping dare! I've not listened to the radio all day today, just in case. Right. Result. Thank you. I did pinch it off you, Ellie. It's the best thing I've ever seen, but apparently this has been going on for quite a while. I hadn't heard of it before, but I thought it was great. Right, so we've got our 1-inch frame, and I'm going to cut them all out. I know this is horrible because it's thick, but it's got to be done. And it's so worth it. So, once again, save your risks, ladies. Just keep cutting. Now, if it's not straight, or it looks a bit raggedy, or, you know, it's not going to matter because we're going to cover it. So I don't want you stressing about it. Because this is going to take a bit of time to do this bit. I could do a Blue Peter and say, here's one I made earlier. But I never thought to ask Mark to do it, which was a bit dim. And you can feel when you go through. You're not going to need the inside bits. So you can put those to one side and use them. I use my offcuts as, well, actually, you've got enough to make a little book here. But I use my offcuts as, what do you call it?
What?
You know, instead of foam dots. To the Whamgeddon thing. I think it's brilliant. It's one of the best things I've ever heard. I think it's hilarious. So has anybody heard it yet? Is anybody out?
I'm missing some messages.
You're missing some messages. What sort? You mean messages? Chats.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so that's our frame. 8 inches, 11 3/4 inches, 1 inch frame. And we've got to do that on all of them.
Oh, it's an hard night for me tonight.
I know.
Oh, Michelle's heard it. Oh, not heard it.
Huh, good. Excuse me, I just need to mute.
Jim asked you out if you hear a bad rendition by the lads at work. No, it's got to be the original.
Yeah, it's got to be the original by Wham. You can listen to covers, that's not a problem. Ellie will tell you all about it. Ellie knows.
She's like me, she doesn't watch telly or listen to the radio.
I listen to the radio. We all know what radio station I listen to. Yes, I should think so, Melanie.
Why, what's she done?
She was chatting to Dan and Bri and it keeps popping up, but I didn't know that I could mute them. So they have been muted. So you can chat away.
I mean, you haven't got her full attention at least.
I know, it's disgusting, isn't it? She's listening to the radio. What radio station are we listening to, Mel? I'm glad you know, dear. Well, I know you know.
Because I've heard you listen to it.
You can put the link up
11 billion times.
to our favourite radio station.
I could.
Oh,
I'm sure Mel will.
I'm sure she will. Oh, that one came out easy. Right, last one. Is anybody doing this along with me, or are you waiting until I've finished in case I make lots of horrible mistakes? Which is doubtful tonight because there's very little to do in terms of measuring. Oh, Anne's out. Oh no, was it the original Anne?
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. Yes, Mel and I listen to Cannock Chase Radio FM. And if you're not local, it doesn't matter, you can listen online. We've got a lot of good friends there. In fact, this timing is rubbish because our friend Dan's on right now doing his 80s show.
Is he?
I know, he is. I like Dan too. He's lovely. Yeah. But I'm avoiding them because I reckon they're going to play Wham.
Deliberately.
I don't know. They might do, knowing those. In fact, I don't blame you, Pat. Next year, right, we're talking about Cannock Chase Radio. Two of the presenters, very good friends of ours, Dan and Bry. Oi, what are you putting on now? Oh, I thought you were putting on Wham. Oh, thank goodness for that.
No, Madonna.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I forgot to turn my computer off.
Oh. I thought, no, I really thought you were gonna, you know, Wham-geddon me. Yeah, we're all supposed to be going, Mel and Dan and Brian and I are supposed to be going to see Genesis next year. We were supposed to be going, oh, was it tonight? No, it was supposed to be this Sunday, wasn't it, Mel? But obviously it's been postponed. But then I was watching this thing about, not Lewis Carroll, not Lewis Collins, what's his name?
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins.
Jeez.
Oh. He doesn't look very well, so I'm not even convinced it's going to happen next year either. Right. Okay, that's my 3 done. Have you got your lights? I've lost mine. Oh, here they are. Right. Grab your lights.
What's my replies on going through?
I know they work because I tested every single one of them before they left, unless you are international, in which case I had to take the batteries out. But they're very easy to replace, the batteries. They're just these little round ones. You can get them everywhere. Little watch batteries, universal, very easy to work with. So this is all, I put that one in the wrong way. So these are all replaceable and easy to use. So we need to make sure that we can get this out because we're going to want to replace our batteries, aren't we? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little mark, oh, where I'm going to put my battery. Now, my battery goes here on the bottom left-hand side, okay? Of my...
How thick are all 3 altogether?
Ooh, there's a question.
Yeah, I'll measure it for you.
Hang on.
With my measuring thing.
He's got a fancy measuring thing.
My cheap and nasty. Oh, that aid. Hold on. Let's zero it first.
About 7 millimeters.
Ish.
What's that in English?
Some. Just under 3/16,
3/16.
No, don't quote me. I don't know.
It's about 1/4 inch, Jill says. I think Jill's right. I can measure that bit.
Well, it's over 1/4 inch.
It's just over 1/4 inch. Yeah, it's about 3/8 of an inch.
6.35 mil.
Right, so as you can see on my book here, this is where I've got my thingies, okay? And that's where I switch my lights on, so it's kind of hidden. So mine's down towards the bottom left-hand side. So I've measured how wide it needs to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, I think this will fit. It should fit in 2 of them, but we might have to just, I'm going to do one at a time. And I'm going to just cut out that bit of chipboard. I'm not using my safety ruler. Somebody's yowling again. That'd be Loki. Right.
Powell says move up, please. You're working off camera.
I am. I'm sorry. Terrible for doing that. Right, I'm just going to make a mark where I want them to go here. And I'm going to cut the same off there as well.
Out of shot. How high is it?
What's out of shot?
You was out of shot at the beginning. They want to know how far up it was.
It is about, I mean, it's not, it doesn't have to be exact, but it's about 2 inches. So let me just have a look and let me just make sure. Yeah. That's not far off. Test it. Oh, I could do with just nipping a tiny bit off here.
Chop it off.
See, it doesn't, it's somewhere in between the 3. So I'm just going to just make a mark with my pen. And somehow I need to just take a little tiny bit of this. Just kind of sculpt it out. Luckily, grey board.
Delaminates.
Is that the technical word for it?
Yes. It is now.
So I'm just going to take a little bit off. I've just taken it off the wrong bit, off the wrong side.
Taking it off the wrong side.
Oh, for goodness sake. Well, that's not going to help, is it? Hey? Shut up.
You can turn it over.
Yeah.
Do it on the other side.
What, like that?
No. Where's your...
But I need it to go
Yeah.
underneath. So I have to turn that bit round. Yeah. Turn that round.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. It's all too technical. Yeah, that's right. But I'm just taking a little bit off.
What comments are showing?
Maybe you're not saying anything. Oh, Amazon's here.
Amazon. Or Martha.
Oh, I don't think Martha's knocking the door. Right, let's see if that works. Oh my God, I've done it again. What the actual flipping egg? No, I haven't. That's right. Oh God. I'm not allowed out in public. Well, let's see if that sits any better. Nah, I can still do with a little bit more out. I'm just taking little bits of this chipboard out. Can you see, just to make sure that everything sits flat? Got it. There we go. That's it. So I've just taken out a little bit there. So now what I'm going to do is decide which of these papers I want to frame mine in. Okay? And I'm going to use green because I'm just making mine exactly the same way. So I'm going to grab a full sheet of the green paper out of the patterns and solids. Okay? I'm going to use this one actually, because I might want that for something else. Right. I'm just going to cut that edge off. Oh, is she? Oh, I'm glad you found her. So I've got a full piece of 12 by 12 here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top piece, which is the piece that isn't cut all the way through. Okay? Let's get rid of that a minute. This is the piece that isn't cut all the way through. And what I'm going to do, actually I'm going to need 2 bits, aren't I? Not doing to do that yet. And I'm going to, let me just make sure this is right. Oh, for goodness sake, now I don't know which way around it is. Yeah, right. I'm going to lay this down on top of here, but I need it to be fairly central round that way. So I'm just going to add some glue, which worked 5 minutes ago. Oh, I don't believe this.
What a palaver.
It's been one of those days.
Oh yeah.
Putting some glue on there.
You need pokey pokey.
And let's just pop that on there like that. Okay. Now I'm going to need some more of my green, which I've just dropped on the floor. Hang on. Oh God. I'm going to cut it about, let's go for 5.5 inches, why not? And I'm going to add this down the bottom here.
Bottom.
So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue just on there. And we're going to cover these bits up so it doesn't matter too much about the join. So let's pop that on there. And just make sure it's good on the back, which it is. I'm happy with that. Okay. Now, the next thing we've got to do is make our internal frame here. Okay. So now I've just put my board back, I need it. So here's how I did it, and it wasn't pretty. But I made a cut.
Is that one on the bottom upside down?
You what?
Is that one
The
on
bottom on the bottom. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, you're not going to see it.
Okay. I should.
That's alright, it's a good point. And I'm going to just cut that in a big X.
I just wanted you to know I was watching.
No, I appreciate it, because if I'd done that wrong, I'd want to know.
Thank you.
So thank you, dear. But shut up.
Okay.
No.
Do.
No, no, no. It's fine. You keep telling me stuff like that. Okay. So now I'm just going to take out some of that middle. This isn't pretty. It's not got to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Just no blood on it.
Just no blood on it. Okay, so we've got another weird looking frame here. But what we're going to do with these bits is we're going to fold them back over that first bit of the frame, and I'm going to cut it down as well because I don't want it to be that wide. Now you're going to ask me why we're not doing this to all 3 bits, and it's going to become apparent in a minute why not. Okay, so I'm going to glue that now down. Like that. You've all gone very quiet.
There.
Have they really gone quiet, or have they just left us? You've all definitely gone quiet. Okay. Let's do this other bit.
Concentrating.
Yeah, concentrating.
Or Facebook's screwed up again.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched back that original video from last night, the one where we gave up. And you were absolutely, not that I was suggesting that you weren't right, but you are so... How can I cut that paper? What, you mean this paper? Easy.
Sharp knife.
Sharp knife and scissors. Because I'm hard.
Me too.
And I've forgotten what I was saying. I can't remember.
I don't think I was listening to it.
You don't usually.
Yes. David says G45 is to look at.
Nah. Got to make a book with it, she says.
Making a book.
Oh, was it David? David, was it you I was talking to about the cityscapes? Which is the graphic 45 for me. Oh yeah, the video last night was terrible. The sound really was awful. Yeah, David, was it you I was talking to about the cityscapes? That ever since that came out, I've regretted not buying it. That was my one that got away. Hi, Janet. And now I've got it, I just don't think I'm going to ever be able to use it. I do have a stash of graphic 45 that I don't cut, to be honest.
And he says she's still here.
Like a nightmare, yeah. Right. And the last one. Now, we've got a bit of a problem here because we've got this little bit that obviously we've dug into, so we don't want to cover that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my scissors to snip up to where that little bit is. I'll come back to that in a minute. Oh, fold it round. Which ones were they, David? I have got Portrait of a Lady, which I bought several years ago when it came out. I bought it with some money that it's a long, complicated story, and it sounds a lot more exciting than it really is. But my dad came across some money that my grandmother left, and I don't. Anyway, whatever. And I decided to buy Portrait of a Lady with it so that I could make an album about my grandmother because we were really close. And I bought it. Have I made the album? Have I helped? Never mind. Right, I'm going to fold this little one over. Here. Right, now this one, this is going to go into my dent. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it down slightly. So I think if I cut it at an angle like that, and cut it right back like that, I'll probably cut that too short now.
Karen says, what do I do as I have a full gap for the batteries?
A full gap for the... what, you mean all three pieces of you've gone through all three pieces of chipboard? Oh, knocked the camera, sorry. Yeah, do you mean all three pieces of chipboard?
Looks like being on a ship.
Yeah, Rare Oddities is great. Oh, I'll have to show you what I made with my Rare Oddities. I did actually use that one. Okay, right. Yeah, Karen, you've cut a gap through all three. Doesn't matter. Just pretend you haven't. Yeah, just put the paper over regardless, actually, because I don't think it'll matter at all. Just carry on and pretend that you've got... Fold this back on itself on that bit where we've got the gap. Right, now, in theory, when we come to put that all together now... Oh, I've done it again! Together, my batteries will sit in there, but... I need to, before I fold these over to cover it, I need to do a little bit of adding stuff in. So, where's what we did last week? I've lost it again. This is the second time tonight. Right, the bits that we did last week. The first thing that we're going to have to do, and let me just show you, is, sorry guys, is we need to add our Santa in because he's kind of slipped in between the bits of chipboard. So are some of the holly bits. Okay, so let me just I'm gonna knock you again, and I'm sorry. So this Santa needs to kind of fit in. But I think he fits in the second one. Yeah, he does. Let me just check sizes. Yeah. So we're going to add our second bit in. Ooh. So add that on top. And then we're going to add our Santa. So I'm going to do this in a bit of a weird way now, because we want him to be able to overlap bits here. We've got some bits there and some bits down there that overlap, so that Santa's going to sit like that. And we're going to need to stick him in before we add our other bits. So I know this is all a little bit confusing. It'll all become clear. I'm going to stick some glue, and I know we're going to be cutting over the battery bit. So don't worry, we're going to come to that in a minute. Going to pop some glue on there, and I'm going to add my Santa in where I want him to go. Just pop those bits over. Okay, so if I turn that back round now, I'm going to just take my... Oh, it's not even straight. Knife and cut out where that battery pack goes. Now, before you all go, oh, you're going to see it. You're not, because if you look at the original, I've covered over bits. Okay? So let me just look at that from the front. Yep, that's good. And now I want to add in some of my fussy cut bits of... Actually, I might stick those in between there. holly. Okay. All right, so you've got something that looks a bit like that. All right, so then the final thing that we're going to do is add in our last bit of chipboard. Okay, now where are my lights? Here we go. I'm just going to make sure that they fit in there, which they do. And now I need to fold this over so that I am covering the back of this. Okay? I'm thinking a minute. I know, it's not good. I'm just wondering whether or not it's going to be... I can't remember how I did this. I'm just wondering if it isn't going to be easier. No. Right. I'm just going to cut it down a little bit. And I'm going to want to fold that over. Yeah. I need to cut it down a bit too. Make sure that fits without showing over, which it does. And I'm thinking actually I might use a little bit of double-sided tape on this because I'm going to need it to stay in place whilst it glues. So like we do when we make our covers. I'm going to fold that over like that. So what I've got now is quite a sharp edge, but all three pieces of chipboard are covered. Okay? And I'm going to do the same on the top. We'll tidy up those edges later, don't worry about those. You didn't miss anything, Ellie. Right, let's fold that over. And now we've got to fold those other edges over, but you can see now how it's starting to take shape. Okay, and it's quite easy to do. So we need to just bear in mind where our batteries are going to go. I'm just cutting a little bit off there so that I can fold that over. Just glue that down. Oh, glue. Actually, I've got a fresh bottle down there. Now we're going to do the tidying up on these edges. Now careful how you miter these corners here, so you need it up close because it needs to cover. It still needs to look tidy, she says, making a mess of that one. Bodge it. I know. Okay, yep. You might have to just have a little bit of a fiddle just to get it straight. There we go. Okay. You've all gone seriously quiet. Right, I'm going to lift this up in a minute and I'm just going to show you my corner, which isn't perfect, but it doesn't matter that much. Okay, so I might put some green ink over that, but I've basically covered all of that area there. That's where my battery is going to go, and I've just folded that over and just mitered it a little bit. But like I said, I might well go over that with some green ink, just to cover up that white bit. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same up at the top here. So I'm just going to cut that down a little. Let's fold that over. You just need to have a bit of patience, you know, with doing this. It's easy to do. You've just got to be prepared to work it, if that makes sense.
Work it really good.
Yeah, work it real good. Ah, gluey fingers. Ah. Right, but that's coming on. You get the idea. Oh, done it again. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Oops. Oh, okay. We'll give that a go. Thanks, Terry. fold that round. Right, we're nearly ready to put the lights in. Nearly.
Exactly.
I've just squished my holly. Okay. Right, so that's our frame done. Glue. Right, there we go. So, lights. I've lost them. Okay, grab your lights. Oh, this is all very technical. And unroll them. Now the nice thing about the lights, if you've had a kit, is that these are really, really thin wire lights. I'm going to have to spend half an hour untangling them now.
Terry says to leave your bottle laying down so it gets to the tip quicker.
Yes, I tried that. I keep forgetting. Mark 3D printed me a special glue bottle holder to do that very thing. I don't know where I've put it.
You've tidied it
I've
up.
tidied it up somewhere. But I've had that a long time. It was one of the first things you made with your printer, wasn't it?
Yep.
So, when you've untangled all of your lights...
Which doesn't make for great video.
Which doesn't make for great video. No, I know. Turn your thing over and just pop your lights in to that little space there. Okay. Because that's where it's going to sit in your book. Now, I'm quite sure that Mark's going to tell me a better way to do this now. But I just used lots of bits of tape to put my lights in. So, let's start up. Which way should we go? Let's go that way.
Don't read Ellie's last comment.
I did read Ellie's last comment. I'm just ignoring her.
Oh.
Right.
She's naughty.
She's very naughty. So I just used double-sided tape just to basically put my lights in where I wanted them to go. They will slip kind of in between the bits of chipboard. But if you want to attach them with bits of tape, attach them with bits of tape just for a bit of security. And if you've got things like bits of holly that we need to put in there, and that will cover things up quite nicely too. got my tongue out and concentrating.
Yeah, it keeps slobbering on the screen.
Yeah. Now these lights are thin enough that you can just press them under, or you're not really going to see them too much.
If lights take down so close to battery pack, how do you get out? Get it out to change the batteries?
Because we're going to leave it ever so slightly out, and then you're just going to pull it.
Leave some slack.
Leave some slack, yes. Right.
How much slack should you leave?
Not much, a bit.
Enough.
Enough. I've got, well, at the moment, mine's just attached here, Nicole, with a bit of double-sided tape, which I'm going to take off in a minute, so that we have got that little bit of space to pull it out. So my wire, the lights, actually started right by the battery pack, so that this bit that's kind of insulated with the plastic bit, that's what's the slack. Now, we've obviously got a lot more lights in length than just around the frame. So what I did with mine was I added them round the centre. So now I'm going to take them and just loop them round here.
Santa takes up the slack.
Yeah, Santa takes up, yeah, well, he takes up the end of the thingy. Don't put double-sided tape over the lights bit. Okay. Right. So, if I take that off now, that will give me the slack that I need to pull that bit out. So, let's see if this works. Oh, God. This is the scary bit. Yes!
Good.
There you go. My lights work. Which they're not going to show. Do you want to turn the light out, darling? Because it doesn't show a lot, really, until you...
No, I'm just brightening it.
Oh, well, obviously you still can't see properly because it's not attached to anything, but I might just move these so that they're a little bit more towards the outside so that we can see them better. But you can fiddle with them.
Oh, yes. Well, that looks good on
It looks good on the back.
looks good on the thing. On the screen.
There you go. So you've still got your lights.
Oh, yes.
Right, okay, thank you, dear. So now, if you want to cover up any bits that are kind of hanging, with a bit more holly, you can do. So I'm going to put a little bit down there.
Please explain how you're putting lights around the frame and pushing in between boards. No, you just
I am where I can, but obviously the lights themselves won't do that. It's only the wires that'll go in between the bits of grey board. But they're so thin, you really just don't see them. And if you kind of disguise it with a little bit of holly, you won't see them. You just don't. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So what I need to do now is I need to attach this to the book. So I've got to choose which piece of paper I'm going to put behind. Oh, switch these off. Now on mine, on my original one, I used the red holly, which I'm going to use again because why not, that one. And I'm just going to cut that down so it fits on top of here. So I'm going to cut it about 11.5 because it doesn't have to fit in exactly. So say 11.5 by 8 inches, something like that. Now my sister's messaging me, which means I can't see any of your messages. Right. Now I'm just going to add that up to that edge there. Because we might well see some of that edge. And now I have to stick down my frame on top. I'm going to take that battery pack out for a minute.
Let the rehab storm.
Oh, is she back?
She's back.
And I'm just going to glue around the edge there. Put a little bit on there as well. Okay. Right, and now I'm just going to glue that down. Now, it might be wise, I think, to actually secure this down and leave it to dry before we do the other fancy bits. So I'm just going to get some clips, because I always have clips knocking about.
Carol says, I thought you said keep a page of holly for the background.
Page of holly. Yep, I've still got what? The fussy cutting. I've still got a whole uncut bit of the holly paper. So I'm tempted now to leave this to dry before I do any more to it. But what I've done on the back here is I've used some of my fussy cut pieces, and I've used some of the Christmas ephemera just to layer up and just make it a bit more interesting. So I've got these stamps that we made last week that I can just pop in there. And just fit those in. There's this bit which I matted onto some black card. That went in there. And we'll just slot in underneath. I used the... oh, I don't know where I've put them. Oh, hang on. Out of the ephemera pack, I know I used the big clock. And I pop that in there. Down there. And various other bits. I mean, you've seen pictures in the group anyway. So you can follow that if you like. I've used some of the baubles, which I've layered up as well. And then I've covered these bits here where we had the, you know, the bits that we added. I've done things like, let me find it. I did do all my fussy cutting. I was a good girl. I layered that on top of there. Used a bit of that chipboard that we got left over. This went down there to cover that. And those bits that, you know, that we had where it showed through. And then I just layered bits on top. And then over this side, I took one of the stickers, that one, and I layered it up onto the black card and just cut out that with a bit of a border. Oh, I know what I've forgotten. Where's my big green Santa? Put him in first, didn't I? So what I'm saying is you can decorate this in any way that you like. That went in there. Whatever takes your fancy, layer bits up, fold bits, whatever you like. But I'm going to leave that to dry before I put those extra bits in. Okay? So that's I'll put some more pictures. Well, I think there's a whole album, I think. If there isn't, I'll put the album up, Nicole. And then you can either copy it or do your own thing, whichever. Okay, entirely up to you. So, as for your lights, they'll just slot in when you're ready. She says, getting all tangled up. And then you can just slot those in. They'll go behind that Santa. And then you can just switch them on, take them on, you know, take it out, put it in however often you need to change your batteries. Okay? Right. I hope that's it. If you get stuck, just give me a shout. I will see you back in class next Wednesday, and we'll start on doing the pages that go on this side. Okay? So any questions, just let me know. And I'll see you guys, well, tomorrow if you want to watch the clinic, and then Friday for Fa La La, and then back here next Wednesday for the rest of this. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Oh.